Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama Season 4, Episode 1 of my show, which is also going to be about Episode 1. Now, Episode 1 in Season 4 is known as, Futurama is known as Roswell That Ends Well. Now, as I'm just going to get a little bit of a detail out of the way here with this episode. This episode is another one where they travel through time, basically. There's actually a couple of episodes that sort of do this. There's the first episode, because Fry gets cryogenically frozen. And this is another episode where that happens. But it's for a different circumstance than him getting cryogenically frozen. And it's not just him who travels through time, it's the others as well. Now, I'm going to explain why in the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to get into the actual episode now before I continue on with that part. Anyway, the way this episode first starts off is basically they take the Planet Express ship to where this supernova is to where the sun is. I'm not sure if it's their planet's sun, but I think it's another sun, basically, because they want to watch it because it's going supernova, and basically, if you know your astronomical terms, what a supernova is basically when a star goes kaboom, basically. Basically, it explodes. And the reason why Fry goes with them is because he's never seen a supernova explode, and he mentions that, but he says that if it's anything like his old Chevy, it'll light up the night sky, which is funny, because it's a reference to him possibly owning it. And then basically, while they're there, Bender tells him that basically, anyone who misses this will regret it the rest of their life. And then basically, he basically tells Fry to make some popcorn. And, basically Fry does go to do that, to make the popcorn using a Jiffy Pop machine. But this is the funny thing about the Jiffy Pop homemade popcorn stuff. Apparently, there's a plastic in this series. Apparently, you can't in the future. I hope this actually really doesn't happen in the future. But apparently, in this episode, you can't put any metal into a microwave. I'm not sure if that does happen. I'm not sure if there's a scientific reason as to why you can't put metal in a microwave or something like that, or if it's just something that has to do with the future at that time frame. I'm not really sure, but anyway, that is another kerfuffle, and by that I mean it's a confusing thing. Anyway, Fry basically ignores the label and peels it off and puts the Jiffy Pop popcorn stuff in the microwave to use. But when he turns it on, this blue energy waves encompasses half the ship, and that's about when the supernova from the star that they were going to see explodes, and then the energy from the supernova starts colliding, sort of covering the other half of the ship. And then after that, when Fry realizes that the others are freaking out as well, he's like, hey, what weird thing happening are you guys freaking out about? And then basically the blue energy from the microwave collides with the red energy from the supernova, from when the star explodes, and it basically opens like a time hole and makes them travel all the way back to Roswell, New Mexico, in the year 19 in the Roswell, New Mexico, in the past, like I think in 1976 or something like that, and doing that will also cause some weird time anomalies to happen. And what I mean by time anomalies is actually major events that'll occur that'll actually play into it. Oh, and since I brought the time anomaly thing up, I'm gonna mention this again very quickly, because if you guys remember back when I did my previous season, one of my videos for the previous season of this series that I covered, which was, I believe it was season 3, there was an episode in it where basically Fry was immune to the brain spawn's stupefaction power, and remember how I said that was because he lacked the Delta brainwave. Now this is actually going to be explaining upon it, and also it's going to be explained again by Nibbler. Basically, so it's partially because of this. I think because this causes a time paradox to happen. Because they got transported to the past because of the supernova and the metal from the microwave colliding together. So this causes a time paradox to happen. And basically, and I'm going to explain what that time paradox is. Anyway, when I get to the part with that, I just wanted to mention that. But I figured I'd bring it up since I mentioned it, and since it's also going to get referenced in the later season. I believe it might be season 5 or 6. I think it might be the next season I'm going to cover after this one, which is season 5. I don't know. I might have to double check on Disney Plus about that. But anyway, while the others are shouting when the red energy is uncovering over the other half of the ship, Fry goes to see them, and he's asked them, like, hey, what weird thing happening are you guys freaking out about? Because to him, what he's freaking out about is the blue energy crossing over the other half of the ship. And like I said before, the red energy from the supernova collides with the blue energy from the metal placed in the microwave, which causes a time hole to be opened up and allowing them to travel back to Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. Basically what happens is after they travel through time, basically Fry realizes that the microwave is stopped at the popcorn, and he goes to check on his popcorn, but then when he goes to see it, it's just a regular corn stalk, and he's like, it's barely even popped. It's not even popped at all. And then basically, what happens is, the people of Roswell, New Mexico in the series, in that time frame, managed to find the flying saucer, which is the ship, and they also take pieces of Bender's body with them, and then I'm going to explain more about that later. I just wanted to bring it up since I mentioned it. Anyway, basically, the professor basically looks at the chronograph, and he said that according to the chronograph, it's the year 1947, which explains why the chronograph had turned into a pinup calendar. Oh my god. And then basically, they say that they traveled back in time. One of them mentions that they traveled back in time, and then the professor's like, "Doy, some idiot must have put metal in the microwave." And then Fry puts his finger up like he's like, "Yo," because he said that he's the one responsible for it. But technically, in a sense, this is also because of the future thing, because if they, like I said, because I don't know if even in this timeline, if it's okay to put anything metal in the microwave. I might have to double check about that. But anyway, so if someone would have told Fry that he shouldn't have put the metal in the microwave before he peeled the thing off, maybe the time thing wouldn't have happened. But I'm not questioning the series. I'm just putting a new perspective on it. That's just my opinion of it anyway. And then basically the professor mentions that the electromagnetic particles from the supernova, when it exploded, collided with which was the electromagnetic particles from the microwave, which was the blue energy, collided with the red energy from the supernova, which caused them to go through a time hole to Roswell, New Mexico. Oh, and so if they don't get back to their own time within a certain timeline, like about, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, he says about, I think it's about like 24 hours. So essentially a full day and leading into the next day kind of thing. Because, there's 12 hours in one day. And then if you add the 12 hours from that day into the second day, that leads into another 24. So essentially 2 days, basically, from a time standpoint anyway. So basically they have to come up with a way to get back to their time using technology from 1947. And then Fry basically uses that as an opportunity to go visit his grandfather in the past. But then the professor warns him that he can't do that because if he screws with history and causes anything that to happen that wasn't actually supposed to happen in this timeline before he existed, he will basically cease to exist. So basically, if his grandfather dies, he essentially will be non-existent and stuff. Anyway, which makes sense. But that's actually gonna play a funny part in it because basically because of what's gonna happen. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Because basically what happens is Fry, sort of ignoring the professor's orders, goes to meet the younger version of his grandfather on the base, and then basically speaking of which, I'm just gonna explain about the paradox. The flying saucer that they captured was actually Bender's body, and the alien that they captured in the episode, in the timeline that this episode takes place in, because it takes place in the past, was the alien that they captured when their flying saucer ship crashed, which was the Planet Express ship, was Zoidberg. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I kind of had to laugh about that part, because that's just hilarious. Zoidberg was the one that gets captured. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's almost as, that's almost as funny as, for his character, it's almost as funny because it's almost as funny as that time he told that bad joke, which was not supposed to be a bad joke, that didn't work out because, and then when he said the whole, good evening, ladies and germs thing, and then the Ringo guy did the donk, and then he was like mentioning, that wasn't the joke. He was talking to Dean Streptococcus, and then he told the actual joke, which is the bad joke I mentioned before, about the professor dying soon because of his age, and then the cricket sound, and then Zoidberg gets annoyed with the drum guy for that. Oh my god, I'm sorry. In a sense, though, that's a bad joke. I just thought I'd bring it up since I mentioned Zoidberg, because in this case, it is actually kind of funny. Zoidberg was the one that got captured. And then we were studying Life One, which was him. Anyway, basically, Fry basically gets his grandfather off of the military base afterward because of how dangerous it is with the explosives and stuff. And basically they go to this diner, and the diner has a waiter there, which is his grandmother, and then, well, a younger version of his grandmother, of course, but that's also going to lead into the time paradox thing that I mentioned before. But anyway, speaking of paradoxes, the word paradox is going to have a funny title in one of the later episodes for this series. I'm not going to explain what the episode is, but I just wanted to bring that up since I mentioned the word paradox and everything. Anyway, basically what happens is after that, after he gets his grandfather off the base, he realizes that it's still a little dangerous at the diner and stuff. So he basically takes him away from the diner to prevent him from getting killed and stuff, causing him to be erased from existence. And he takes him to where this house is in the middle of nowhere, and he thinks he's going to be safe there, which in a sense is not safe, because Fry intentionally brought his grandfather to the least safe place on there, because it was a house in the middle of nowhere. It was. But it was a house the reason why it was a house in the middle of nowhere was because it was on a testing site. A nuclear testing site. Oh my god, I'm sorry. So in a sense, Fry literally brought his grandfather to the most least safe place that there was. Oh my god. Anyway, and then he leaves them, and then he and Bender leave in the vehicle after that, and then Fry thinks he's gonna be fine because he's not gonna be risked for existence because his grandfather is safe. But that's when the nuclear test goes off, and then that's when they see the nuclear blast, and then Bender's like, "And you are out of here!" Oh my god. And then basically in the next scene what happens is Fry basically goes back to the diner, and then his grandmother basically explains, well, she gets the phone call that Enis was killed in a nuclear blast and stuff, and then she gets depressed about that, and then started saying, "Oh, now this is where I meant it was going to get a little confusing, because basically what Fry is doing is basically sleeping with his own grandmother, thus creating another time paradox where basically he's his own grandfather, basically." And that's the part of it I wanted to mention, because that leads into why he's immune to the brain's effects in the first place, because I just wanted to bring that up since it's going to be referenced by Nibbler in I'm not sure if it's the next season, but it might be the season after it. I might have to double check on Disney Plus about that, but anyway, I know that'll get referenced either in the next season or the season after it. But anyway, basically finds sleeping in his grandmother, and then next scene what happens is while he's still sleeping with her, what happens is the others manage to see him, and then they get shocked about him changing the past, but then Fry says that they don't have to worry because she's not his grandmother, and because but again, this leads into the paradox thing that I mentioned before. Oh my god. Anyway, and then he wonders if that's his grandmother, then it was his grandfather, and then basically the professor said that, isn't it obvious? You are! Oh my god. And then basically he gets shocked by that and he starts freaking out. And then basically what happens is sort of similar to, not exactly sort of similar to the scream that he did at the midway segment of season 2, episode 9, or it might have been, it might have been season 2, episode, I know it was one of the season 2 episodes, it was one of the season 2 episodes that had to do with Dr. Zoidberg and his whole mating ceremony thing, but anyway, basically after they tried to calm Fry down and stuff, he said that they shouldn't change the past anymore, and then basically, the professor said that because the professor mentions that they gotta leave, but they're basically stuck in that timeline without a microwave to take them back to their timeline, and then basically, when they decide to leave, and Fry mentions not to alter history, the professor's like, oh, a lesson in not changing history from my own grandpa. Let's get out of here. Screw history. And then basically what happens is, they're still technically stuck in that timeline because they don't have the microwave thing to, get back to the past, open the portal to get back. So while Leela and Farnsworth basically are as they order some food in 19 they order some food in that timeline, but the professor gets confused why he's not reacting because he said that something, because he says something that's from his time, and he mentioned that he says of the food that's from that era, and then that's when they see the satellite dish, and they decide to basically use the satellite dish to from the base in order to open the wormhole in order to get them back, the time hole in order to get them back to their timeline and stuff. And then after they attach it and they get it attached, they start flying with the ship towards where the time hole is, and then the man that's in there, which is like one of the sergeants, which is the same sergeant Enis was talking to, gets mad because he's like, Enis! And then basically Fry's like, he's dead, sorry! And then they manage to get through the time hole, but before they fully manage to get through the time hole, Bender's head and body falls out of the ship, which causes him to land back on Earth in the 1970s in Roswell, and then Fry said that they gotta go back for him, but then the professor said that they can't because the portal won't stay open for long. If they don't go through it now, they'll never get back to the 31st century, which is the year 3000. And then Fry gets upset that Bender's left behind in the future. When he returns to the future with the others, he gets upset that Bender's all alone in the past, but then he realizes that he can just find Bender again because he's still in Roswell, New Mexico, and if Roswell still exists in this timeline, it's probably abandoned, which it is. So they basically use a metal detector to find Bender, and then basically after they find him, Fry asks Bender, what's it like being trapped in that hole for thousands of years? And then basically, Bender says he was enjoying it until they showed up. And then, basically, the professor said that all that ends well, and if history doesn't mind that Fry's his own grandfather, who is he to judge? Who are they to judge? And then basically, that's sort of where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, I'll probably post it after supper because I'm going to be having supper in a little bit here. So I'll probably post this video after supper, but I'll probably record and upload the next Futurama video maybe tomorrow for the next video. I just wanted to get that out of the way though. But until then, guys, until tomorrow, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys next time for the next video. And like I always tell you with this series, fun on a bun.